What's up, carrots? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
I'm Curtis.
I'm Pete. And I'm Julio.
I know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here. 17 Fear. It ain't no long talk, man. We about to jump into this fucking banger, man. There's no long talk. 넌 내게 욕을 지워야 돼. I'm poison. I know I can't take it no more. You hit him with that. Vernon, you think turns gray? He said, no.
You say everything turns gay? You said everything turns gay? Everything turns gray.
That's funny.
Vocals. I was about to say, what?
Love is desperation.
I can't take it no more. Someone good.
Great solo rhyme scheme.
That scared me for a minute. Oh, shit.
Shit. Hit him with the. They go to car again.
Really? I never noticed the car. That's awesome.
You know what I'm here for? I'm here for the Vernon part. That.
You beat him?
Right here.
Yeah, I forgot about the move. Shit, bro.
Right here.
The way I look. Fighting for lunch right here. This shit turning to. The way I look. The way I look.
1738.
This is
Yeah,
17.
they definitely killed that too, bro.
That reminded me.
I can see why you say they're top five. They
Yeah,
have a very strong. They got a very strong performance. Very oh man, strong presence.
Yeah, and then like I said, I'm gonna let you go off, but if I play like 5 different songs, it's like 5 different feels. The choreo can be involved like anything, because even from left and right to this are just 2 totally different contrasts as far as like one being super bubbly and light and another one just being kind of dark as shit. They're really different, man. But Julio,
I was just gonna ask about that. The people that we might have nothing to do with each other, but the video that we watched earlier, and we said, yeah, they're dancing
boys?
like they're grown men. Yeah, I don't know.
oh no,
Boys.
SF9.
Like they're
SF9,
grown men,
yeah.
and they were basically the same concept as this video. Like they were like black and white, same type of feel, and like what was it? Like Hitman vibes. I felt the same, and with them,
Same theme you see a lot.
yes, but I feel like they were trying to beef with somebody, and I feel like this it might have nothing to do with it. But I feel like this is a comeback of them. Which
A
one came out
response.
first? That's why I was like, what? No way, no way. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious.
That's what I felt. But I liked, and by that being said, I'm coming out firing at basically anybody wanting to smoke. But I really liked it again. I'm not disappointed. The moves were there. The song was there. I really appreciated this one. I really liked it. I enjoyed their work so far, I can say. There hasn't been a flaw for me anyway. Very impressed. Very talented. I like it a lot.
Yeah, you can get split off. And I actually was gonna show y'all the dance practice because anytime I know the Redeemers is gonna say anytime I show y'all a 17 joint, you gotta watch like the dance practice to kind of see what's going on.
I mean, they're so regarded for their choreo.
That's the first thing we saw with 17. You ever showed us was the dance practice.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because like I said, they regarded as like choreo kings, but like all the songs fucking slap. So it's not like that's their only thing. You know what I mean? That they can kind of pin their head to and shit. So it's amazing. But yeah,
For them to be held highly regarded in that facet among the high I guess praises that you can give to every kind of bit of their artistry, as far as the rapping, the singing, the production, everything like that too. So it's like this song is no different for me in the sense that like it's like you can't help but really invest yourself in it and love it, and it's certainly one of the earlier tracks that we had checked out and everything that you really put me onto for sure. Even back then, but it's like there's so much that I'm appreciating, even kind of just seeing it again, and as you had said again, like the car and everything, and I'm so curious about kind of that motif and kind of how that ties into everything. But I really like a lot of their lyrics too, which is something I didn't want to overlook as well. Was I like how they say basically your trust is worth more than my heart at one point in the song, shortly before the midpoint, if I'm not mistaken. But all that to say, it's like just using that as a brief example to say like kind of like when you talk about a universal concept like fear and everything, to kind of give it the gravity to where like you feel the depth of kind of what it's there to represent and everything, and using nuance within that, because obviously like it's common to kind of talk about love in a fearful way, or kind of that hesitance of going back and forth. I know you had pointed out the wardrobe and kind of the duality between the concept of white and black. Like there's not even a moral gray within that. It's just it's either perfect and positive, or it's like detrimental in some way. So it's like there's not even a gray kind of point within that seemingly, and that's echoed within the wardrobe. So I think all that is really well conveyed too. Their rap line is intense, of course, all the way through. And as I was talking about, some of those lyrics, just to briefly kind of add to that, but the belting out of the desperation, paired with it, because you feel the desperation in the rap, but then you feel it equally paired within kind of the belting of the notes, particularly. And it's like you just feel it. And I love the video and everything that it conveys as well. It's shot incredibly cinematically as well. And just even the bits of the choreography that you're seeing here, and I know obviously we're going to get into more of that with the dance practice, but I mean even in things that are more cinematic, you see so much of their choreography, and I think that's a real testament to them as well. And I think one of the last things I was going to convey was I like how they use kind of the angles of like the arrows kind of aiming down like at them or the heart, and kind of belittling them, like making it like they're in a cage kind of arrows seemingly. And just kind of conveying like a bit of those motifs, and perhaps flipping even like the Cupid kind of love thing on its head, a little bit in that regard, if you're using the motif of the arrow. Yeah, that shot. So I think all that was done incredibly well too. Yeah, I mean they snapped on this. They really did, and it's just like you said. I mean every you can pick out 5 to 10 different songs from them, and they'll be completely different, and they excel at a high level within that. So I mean that's only a testament to their artistry for sure. Here we go with the dance practice.
I know. It's a mile of its own. It's like you're tripping. Let's give you your 4K up and shit. We're gonna treat you with some respect in here, okay? So treat them with some respect.
넌 내 기억을 지워야 돼. I'm poison. I know I can't take it no more.
All the in-sync moments. The synchronized moments.
Yeah, 나 위험해. 너무 지독해. 나 자신보다 나 그런 진실이 중요해. Got to get away, can't hesitate.
Chill, Vernon. Shit.
나는 왔어, 도전해도 많고 기뻐져가기 전에 got to get away. 난 깨지 못해, 또 가지 말해.
With that. He started turning the fuck up a little.
Someone tell me what's your name? 내 기억을 지워야 돼. I'm poison. I know I can't take it no more. 서를 넘지 못해 나를 사랑해줘 the way, the way.
Sarangay.
Love this simple rhymes.
The fire switch right there.
So they mirroring him in the back. Some like, shit. Who is that? Said chill, Vernon. That shit turn into. Shit.
I don't even remember all this.
What'd you say?
Wait, he said, what'd you say?
I don't even remember all this.
I'm gonna tell you why.
It's
I'll
like,
tell you why.
Desperation. That is incredible.
he hit him with that. The way I look, the way I look. Oh, drink from the poison.
Listen,
Exactly.
I think it's pretty obvious, you know, these guys are good and this video is fire, but I feel like this is way better than the video, and to pretty much
agree.
answer Julio's question on, you know, or not even answer, but to explain to him why, and this is what I feel. I feel that a lot of times, and just to critique a little bit about K-pop, a lot of the visuals in these music videos can get a little oversaturated when they're trying to explain the story. So the visuals take away from the actual performance, because in its essence, you know, what these guys are doing, they're singing and they're dancing, and the actual visuals, the dancing, so the mystical stuff and the saturation of colors and to describe, and you know, the metaphoric type of meanings kind of take away from its essence at its core, so that it kind of takes away from their performance and their abilities. Even though, you know, the videos are amazing, this right here, it almost spotlights their strong suit, you know. So you know, this is fantastic. I feel like if I were to, you know, I'm a firm believer to always put your best foot forward, and you know, just, you know, how you showcase something is very important. I feel like this would have been even better, not to take away from the actual music video in itself, but this right here, even the, you know, the camera tricks and all that is enough. I'm a huge person. You know, simplicity is king always, and you know. They're fire, bro. They're definitely they're up there, man.
That's why I
for
enjoyed it so much.
I wanted to be the devil's advocate too.
It was
Go ahead.
So what I'll say about K-pop is this, because I don't think you're wrong. Actually, I think you're 100% right. But what I will say about K-pop is they got a lot of mouths to feed, in the sense of when comebacks are a big thing. Like anytime your favorite group comes back, from what I gather, it looks like fans look for a multitude of things. One is kind of, what are the members like looks? So it's just like, you know, let's say if we were like a K-pop group and Julio had like fans and stuff and they stand him, they might want to see like, you know, what color hair he comes back with, like, you know, what's his aesthetic and what's going on. So sometimes it's almost like you're doing fan service within the MV, to where you got to have glamour shots, and you're right, they do take away from the performance of the choreo and everything. But it's like you're trying to do glamour shots, you're trying to showcase a story, you're trying to do the choreo, and still trying to do an MV kind of at the same time. So I do agree with you that sometimes it can take away from the groups that kill choreo. But what's also decent about K-pop is you get 1,000 different forms of content, which means enjoy the MV for the MV, enjoy the dance practice for the dance practice. It's a performance video for this. It's 30 live versions of this. If you love the song, you're going to get everything that you need.
That's really what I was going to say, just to briefly kind of double down on that, is to say, like, you know, I could see in a sense how, you know, it might seem like it takes away from it, but it really, in my opinion at least, it's just an exploration of how deep the rabbit hole goes with K-pop in general and in content. And I think that's something that's ultimately like such a benefit to it, especially now. Granted, I can't speak for any of you, of course, But coming into K-pop, that was something that stood out to me. Is like if I'm appreciating the MV, it's like wow, it's shot so cinematically and everything like that. And there's so much meaning and metaphors. But then you get to the choreo and you're like, or the dance practice, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't even notice
I
this.
fucking missed
and then
this in
you're
the
seeing that, and then you get to the live, and it's like, oh, they're doing this, and then they're bouncing out with multiple sets, and then in concerts and everything. It's just everything is so full of depth within it and artistry, and it's just you can appreciate it individually on almost all the fronts, but the collectively, like each of those slices kind of add up to like so much artistry, even just within one song. It feels like, and that's just something that's like the well just always is like full in that regard for me at least. But I think it's really interesting that you brought that up as well. All that to say is just like this is how amazing this choreography is. That it's like even some of the symbolic stuff that is present in the MV is just like, oh wow, like this is, you know what I mean? This choreography is that amazing, and that's just really just speaks to K-pop in general, and certainly to 17. So I think that's amazing.
Pete and Julio, remember when you were little and you got your kids meal and you really wanted the toy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The choreo is the toy.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
they feed you before you go get your toy.
Look, and like I said,
It's a
like,
full meal,
as
too.
far as like the music video goes and those types of visuals, like the superficial end of this stuff, because that, like I said, like I'm a huge fan at its core essence. It's like and I get it. It's the glamours and the glitz, and it's like we gotta sell, we got the lights and sell them, give them shiny things. Which it works too as well.
They do that too, Pete. Like I don't think for Fear in particular. A lot of K-pop groups, especially the popping groups, they'll do two videos. One will be an MV, and the one will be called like the performance MV.
I feel like that's probably why they do that, because
they know you here. They know you here.
Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have your hardcore fans, but I think ultimately when you're an artist, your main goal is not just appeasing the fans that you have, but also to acquire new ones.
That's true.
And in order to be able to get new fans, at its core, it's kind of you need to go to showcase its actual essence, because before all this, this comes first before the video. The video is the after effect. You know what I'm saying? So I think in order to really take everyone in first, like this is its core. I agree. And I just I really feel like it's phenomenal. Not only that they're on point, but the fact that there's so many, and usually to me, just for the eye, and I'm not your typical fan. I like to see less. Less is more. And for me, when I see more, it's like kind of hard to see people stand out. Like you were saying, they want to see the next person, and that's for the hardcore fans. And I get that 100%. But like I'm a fan nonetheless. But this right here is like, oh, I love it. It's raw, pretty. It's like back to its roots. This is where it all boils down. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is where you're gonna reel people in, like you can show someone, like I could show my grandma the video and be like, oh wow, that's great, but then you see this, just like, oh wow, they're doing look what they're doing. It's not a camera trick, it's an illusions and mystical things, and smoke and mirrors per se, but they're nonetheless up there. Definitely top 5, I would say, for sure.
There's so many
for sure.
of them.
And even so,
I haven't even said top 5 yet. So the fact that I said top 5, these dudes are top 5.
But that also adds to it in the respect that, just to briefly say, is that even within the choreography itself, you'll see how much of the storytelling is actually present
That's
from the
exactly
lyrics.
it.
Exactly.
That's the actual story that's being told through the choreography.
And just to kind of even utilize, like, formations to kind of convey meaning and everything like that, putting people on pillars, hiding people in shadows, or kind of, segueing in and out of formations. And as you had said, drinking kind of the poison, proverbially, of what that fear represents, and bookending it on the beginning and the end.
That's why I feel like the music.
That's just so artistic.
I feel, sorry to cut you off. That's why I feel like the at its core, the music video is like corporate. Like, just do what we tell you. Like, it's like, we gotta just do this. This is like a corporate thing, and this is what it is, and it's I just feel like this is where the real story is being told, and you get to see how talented they are. You know what I mean? It's amazing, man.
It is serving a lot, because I'm not gonna cap. They're so amazing with their dances. You might feel that way with a lot of their MVs. But the thing is, if you only watch the dance practices, you may not be able to like differentiate any of the people from each other, because they don't have no slouches. So that would be a little hard. You wouldn't know what their faces look like almost and stuff, because of how massive the group is. And you're right about sometimes less is more, because we used to say the bigger groups are kind of cheating because it no longer feels like K-pop. It feels like fucking like Dance America or like one of those shows like Does America Have Talent? And it feels like, you know,
But
just
they
a
are
group.
still doing like the music
Yeah,
too, though. of
yeah.
course.
But just at like
All
a
that.
like
That
to
is
dumb it,
perfect.
yeah, just to dumb it down and shit. But they make it work, man. For as many people as they have, everybody gets a moment to shine. There's no slouches. The formations are clean. The
Think of how many lines you
synchronization.
have to walk to balance all of that. You know, these,
And
you know,
nobody
core
messing
fans attract
up.
new fans. Musically, make it work. The vocals, the production, tell the story within the choreography, make it intense, and especially, and that's a hard thing in general. Is just if you're highly regarded for your choreography, now the peak is the valley. You know what I mean? Like, like now you have to constantly reinvent yourself to where you're going to be looked at in that regard. So you constantly have to, you know, sharpen that iron and basically, you know, like improve with each comeback, with each song and everything that you kind of bring to it. And I just think, like, of course, you know, iron is going to sharpen iron in that regard. But it's something that just must be like such an immense pressure at the same point as far as like, okay, how do we outdo, you know, this song, this choreography, that choreography, and then make it able to perform in a concert, you know what I mean? As far as like, you know, your actual sets and everything. Like there's so many lines that you kind of have to toe. And I just think they do it so masterfully.
Yeah. Julio, how'd you feel? I know everybody was talking.
You guys basically hit everything on the head. Other thing I guess really say is, to me, I could really appreciate as a fan, even though there's so many of them, that they're so prepared and well versed that you, like you were saying, touch back on what you were saying, no one really outshines anybody. And to me, I feel like they're robot clones, but with soul, who know how to dance because they're so
With
good that they
soul.
have this program down that they can't. It's like calculated, like
It's the synchronicity
The
together.
synchronization is, and they're highly
It's like when you see the
And
drones up
it's-
there making
it's-
that picture. It's like
you
they're
know,
perfect. You know what I mean?
Like it's amazing, and hats off to them for the hard work. And I always like, every time I see them, I always like that one of them always switches positions. It comes up, get a little bit of time here, a little time there, and when they break off, see how, exactly, look, perfect timing. When they do something like this, a formation one by itself, the rest of the
They're not
back,
greedy.
That
it's
shit is
perfect,
nasty,
man.
dog. Look,
It's
they're
perfect.
they're mirroring him in the back
That's
and
what I'm saying.
shit.
That's my
Like,
favorite
watch
part.
everybody's footwork.
That's my
Like,
favorite. It's funny.
Yeah,
It's
like
my
that-
favorite parts.
that shit is different, man. Even here, look at the little swim joint and right back at it again. Arms go up. We be drinking our poison. Nope. Oh, we step in. Oh shit.
That's why
Oh
that was so
shit.
fun.
It's just
That was
like
great.
That's like 15 different
yeah.
movements.
Then you'll look at shit.
All in sync with
This
that
shit
many
is the
people.
most replayed part.
You got.
You'll just be looking trying to see
Is it?
like yeah.
How you know?
It says it.
It says it when you go to most replayed.
You're definitely
Yeah,
100% right.
100%. I see
Top
why.
5.
You'll try to look and just be like, yo, whose feet? Look, they feet are clicking at
all
the
I've been
same.
that's all I've been
you
watching,
can't
really.
cheat this, man. Like
why
it's just like
I really pay
your arms
attention
and
to them.
feet shouldn't be moving in the same length. People are different heights.
And again, with that many members and everything too, you know, like it really is a testament to their hard work and talent for sure.
And
Yeah,
again,
and
like-
then it goes back to the thing we was talking about too, where like, you know, we're talking about the choreo. To me, the vocals are God tier. The rap line is like crazy. Their visuals, like, you know, and they do all this themselves. This ain't no fucking. And that's my thing about K-pop again. This ain't
powerhouse.
this ain't, you know, some writers tossing them some shit and people doing choreo. And I have nothing against that, but it's just the artistry to where you can lock them in a room and they can do a whole album and a concert skit by themselves that they felt like doing that shit. So it's just
boss tier. They're final boss tier for me. Like, you know what I mean? They're final boss. Like, you want to get to the
So
next
you saying
level,
you're
gotta
number
beat
one?
them. I'm gonna say top 5. There's more to see, but I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not number 1. You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm good. Chris.
Highly on that radar.
Anything else you want to add to this, man?
One thing I was just really going to add is when we kind of get into the most replayed part, which is that first hook, if I'm not mistaken,
Go up a little bit more. You right around that area.
right around here.
Yep.
Okay, but basically it kind of looks like it's like when they get into that first formation for the hook and everything, all the members, the way they kind of line up, it looks a little bit like an aerial shot right there. Is to say it kind of looks like a diamond, but they're carrots
Like a
is like
carrot?
the thing. So it kind of it creates that like triangle kind of formation. And I just think if that was intentional as far as the whole, you know, them referencing carrots, their fan base and everything, and certainly the tie-ins with like home run and things of that nature, the baseball diamond and everything. It's all that to say. I think if that was anything that was intentional, especially for it being the build up to the first hook, I think that was really incredible. But if it was also, because granted the angle wasn't like drone, like kind of looking down or anything, it was more flat. So if that was perhaps like a heart or anything like that, and they're conveying the fear and the poison and being intoxicated in some way, as far as the breaking off of the formations. I mean, there's numerous ways to kind of interpret that. But all that to say, it was clearly like a lot of thought put into that. So I think that was really incredible. In that regard as well. And I like how you pointed out earlier in the beginning the consuming of the poison, where it's like down on the knees and kind of hoisting up like your hands like you're like drinking from like a chalice or something like that. And I just think that was like really well conveyed all the way throughout too. And just to speak on within that amount of people in a group, the way in which you're able to break off into subunit for formations, there's so much moving just in and out of formations alone and hitting your marks, your spots. For the amount of marks they have to hit, just on a staging and blocking kind of level, for them to hit it, time it as well as they do with every progression of the beat or every integration of someone's unique part or something like that, for them to do all that and still remain so in sync when they're actually doing 8 to 10 different movements with feet or their knees or anything like that, or turning the hips or throwing the elbows, shoulders, like body rolls, like any of those kind of things that you're able to include in a choreography. I mean, for them to hit all that, that's like hundreds of like micro kind of things that have to be timed, and for it to be all in sync with that many people, it really is a testament to them again.
That was fire right there.
I love this.
It was intense. It was high octane. Like it wasn't.
It's so sharp and clean and
sharp.
just.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to word it.
Jump in the comments, man. Tell us how y'all felt about this. These revisits are fire so far, just because we kind of picking up on shit we didn't even see like the first time. Love y'all, Karis, man. We gonna holla at y'all. Peace.